All right. Welcome, everybody. I'll start the Truckee River Flood Management Authority Technical Advisory Committee meeting on Friday, February 28th. Can I please have roll call and establishment of a quorum?
Yes. Janelle Thomas,
Present.
Chris Bronzik, Trina Magoon, Mary Horvath,
Here.
Joe Coudrier.
Here.
Okay. Rob Bedart,
Here.
Ashley Elson,
Here.
Amber Sosa, Donnie Gilman, Kathy Canfield,
Here.
Donna Noel,
Here.
Zachary Carter,
Present.
Chris Fredson. All right, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving on to item 2, public comment. During this comment period, any person is invited to comment on any topic, regardless of whether it is listed on the agenda or not. Action may not be taken on any matter raised during this public comment period until the agenda item is opened or the matter is specifically listed on a future agenda. Those who wish to comment on an item that has been listed on this agenda may, if they prefer, comment when that item has been opened for consideration by the board and before action is taken. Comment must be made as described above and is limited to 3 minutes per person. Marty, do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Okay. We will close item 2, public comment. Moving on to item 3, approval of the TAC agenda for Friday, February 28th, 2025. Does anybody have any amendments or a motion for approval?
I move to approve.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
A second. It's Rob.
Okay, Rob, I have a second from Rob. I have a motion from Joe Coudrier, a second from Rob Bedart. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 4, discussion and possible action to approve the draft minutes of the Friday, January 31st, 2025 and Friday, February 14th, 2025 TAC meetings. If there are no comments or edits required on either of those draft minutes, I would look for a combined motion to approve them.
I have a comment.
Okay.
I don't know exactly the timing of when Mary got added to the TAC, but the tables need to be updated, I believe, for both of those to reflect the appropriate membership for Reno. So should be, if you look in the box, we could look at like the 214. That should have Reno as Trina and Mary, and then John. I believe, yeah, I can't remember what was said with John's.
Yeah, no worries. It's just I was using an old template. I'll
Oh, that's
update
fine.
that.
All right, yeah, that's the only comment.
I think John is an alternate too.
Okay.
John is an alternate. Okay.
So do you want to make that recommendation for edit with a motion to approve?
I can make that, yeah, so I'm recommending the tables just be updated to reflect the right members, the correct membership, and I move to approve the minutes for both.
Thank you, Joe.
A second.
Thank you, Mary. I have a motion to approve with edits from Joe Coudrier, a second from Mary Horvath. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, that motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 5, announcements. Mr. George Robeson.
Well, hello. Sorry I wasn't earlier, but I spilled coffee all over my desk. So that's my first announcement. Yeah, flooding on my desk.
Yeah.
So anyways, we do, there's going to be a lot in our presentations, but a couple of additional announcements, and just to reinforce there is going to be that community meeting on March 12th, and we are getting a lot of, we're really trying to get the word out with the county. I have an interview with Colo on Monday about it. So we're really trying to get a lot of the community in there. We're really excited about that. Another quick announcement that isn't in our follow-ups is the PMR, or physical map revision, and the new insurance maps. That continues to go forward, but it will be quite some time before we're really at a place where we're going to be reviewing, where there's going to be open community review of the maps, etc. In the meantime, that model has been accepted, and that model is available to anybody that wants it. Sometimes our handoffs aren't the greatest, with Mary. I think I had to do it, twice or three times before you got what you needed, but we're totally open. It was taxpayer money, so consultants or people working with you, they're perfectly open. We're perfectly open to give them the model and even give them a little advice on how to use it and some of its quirks. So just wanted to put that out there just so everybody's on the same playing field. Final announcement, we are looking at, in the past, we have done some work on, we've done work on our restoration sites from a decade ago, and we've been monitoring it all along. But one thing we really didn't do is do a really thorough job of the modeling, not monitoring, but modeling of what the effects of that are with like a 2D model. So we are commissioning a 2D model. It's on an existing contract to look at the river from basically the area of Lockwood, a little upstream of Lockwood, all the way down to where the exit for Trick is. So all that whole section of river where all the restoration sites are, before and after conditions, and how the water cycles and flows through those areas, and how it's different in different sizes of flooding event. We're going to be looking at that. So we'll let you know as that goes along, and we'll definitely present the results when we get them. But that's something that we're working on right now, because we want to make sure that we, show what we're doing, like did this work or not, and we're actually proposing a lot of this kind of stuff at Rock McCarran, definitely proposing it at Vista Narrows. So we want to make sure this stuff is working right in reality, as well as, design. So that's all I have for announcements for right now.
George, do you have a clarification? You said that work is being performed through an existing contract. Who is the consultant that is doing that?
The master consultant is Atkins.
Okay.
And there's HDR and JUB underneath Atkins. It does a lot of the hydraulics work. In this case, we're using HDR because they did the PMR in that area, and they have all the information on the terrain. So it makes it a lot faster.
Okay.
George, I have a question about that.
Yes.
What could you give me an example of the kind of treatments that you're going to be looking at for that are going to be similar to Rock McCarran and Vista Narrows?
Sure. There's 4 of them, and they have different things going on, but a lot of them have terracing and floodplain restoration. And so what we want to look at is how the water comes up in floodplain restoration, how it comes up in lower floods, how it mitigates or lowers the flooding, how it creates opportunities for bank storage, and the riparian zone with water tables. We do have piezometers as well that we've been using for monitoring. So trying to put that all together into some sort of cohesive report of what has been the effect of these things. They've had really successful vegetative expression. It's very different morphology than what was there before for the stream, but in terms of that groundwater and how the water comes up on the floodplains, we just wanted to get a better look at that. And both Vista Narrows and Rock McCarran have floodplain restoration in the in their designs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other announcements? If not, we will close item 5 and move on to item 6, presentation and discussion of the status of the Wadsworth pedestrian bridge replacement project, including the status of the request for proposals for the demolition of the existing bridge and the construction of the new pedestrian bridge. This is an informational item. George, you have the floor.
Okay, just real quick, I might push this over to the consultant on this, but overall, we went out to bid. What was it, about 2 weeks ago? I could give you the exact date. Oh, it was the day of our board meeting. So that would be the 14th, I believe. So we went out to bid on the 14th. We had a contractors meeting out at the site to lay out the issues and what it looks like and everything. And the design, just lay it out in the field with the different contractors that might bid on this. There were 6 different firms represented at that meeting out in Wadsworth, which that was, to me, was very positive because it's out in Wadsworth and it wasn't a mandatory meeting. And it was great feedback, great dialogue, etc. So now I'll punt it to the consultant about what we're doing next and how that's going to go. So Shane or one of your staff can chime in on that.
Yeah, thanks, George. Danny Manguso is actually the project manager, but he's not on the call. The bid opening is going to be on the 14th at the TRFMA offices at 3 p.m. And currently, there's one addendum that includes like the site visit notes or the pre-bid meeting notes and a few minor adjustments to the date that we did in there per the bridge manufacturer's requirements. But everything looks pretty good, and it looks like we're for sure going to get a solid number of bids. People with plan holders are like Q&D, A&K, Spanish Springs, and I don't know about, I think there's 7 now plan holders. So some good names on the list that we think will do a good job building the bridge.
Is there any questions for Shane about that? I just wanted to update you that we are making progress on this. And this could be done late this summer or even next summer because of the time it would take to manufacture the bridge and other considerations. The fact that it has to be built while school's out is also a time constraint and window. But we'll just have to see what the bidders come up with.
Now, do you want representation at the bid opening by Washoe County at this?
Yeah, I know that we had, can I mention what we did off Mike and Janelle? We have to have a separate agreement with the county because that is a county maintained bridge.
Yeah.
And so you are going to help us with an engineer to help us with just to oversee and make sure that everything's on the up and up, because you will eventually take back the bridge and maintain it. So yeah, I think that would be a very appropriate that somebody from the county's there, the person that we had talked about, and that was tentative, so I'm not going to name any names.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's appropriate. And obviously when we get into this with making sure the bids are qualified and all that, we would want that input as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, if you don't mind sending me an item or something for my calendar, I can make sure that we have representation at the bid opening.
Okay, I'll have Marty do that for you to make sure that somebody will be there.
And Marty, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention also that there's consideration of adding like a placard to put it on the Register of Historic Places that we might do just as it's a historic crossing place.
All right. Any other comments or questions? All right, closing item 6 and moving on to item 7. Discussion of the Rock to McCarran design project, including the alternatives analysis, preliminary results, follow-up items regarding McCarran Bridge, estimated maintenance costs and content for the March 12th public meeting, possible action to give direction to staff regarding items to present at the March 12th public meeting. So this is for possible action, for direction. George, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. On this one, we actually have drafts of what we're going to have for, well, just to back up a minute, when we do this presentation to the public, there will be a video, and it's called "It Could Happen Tomorrow." We played a draft of it one time at the board, but this will be kind of like the quote world premiere of it, where it'll be the first time and it's the final version. And that will start the meeting. Then I will talk for maybe just a few minutes about the overall project, the Truckee Meadows Flood Project, which is all the projects, including Vista, etc. And then we will break out into stations. There are 5 stations, and each of the stations is an important aspect of the Rock McCarran project. We have a station, Marty and I have been working on, about why are we even doing this, and the overall project in general. And then there's stations on the environment, there's stations on the process, there's stations on what will happen and how it goes forward. So there's a station on recreation that's going to be very interactive, I believe. So there's all these different stations, and I think the best thing to do is just kind of go through a PowerPoint with the people that own these stations. They're going to be at the stations answering questions. And what we're really trying to do at these stations is have dialogue and get people to make comments. And so it really worked out well at Wadsworth. We got a lot of intelligent comments after the dialogue. Like, they would ask a question and then we'd tell them and they go, "But what about this?" And they go, "Yeah, well, you should make a comment about that." And then they did. And some of those comments actually affected our design, which to me is a huge success when you can get input like that actually improves the design. So with that, do we have a PowerPoint? Anybody have the PowerPoint, Marty or Shane, that we can bring up and just start going through some of these? I know some of our stakeholders here are interested in our messaging, how we're messaging this, and we want to make sure that we're not doing something that is not good. So let's go ahead and just kind of go through this here real quick. So this first one here, I'm going to put my glasses on. This first one here is just an overview of where the project is. Then some, just showing a locator map. And the aspects of this is that this is part of kind of an overview. It's not really part of a station, but it does give people an idea of the context of this thing, that there is the watershed is, encompasses Lake Tahoe. There are several reservoirs involved. There is a downstream. It actually goes into Pyramid Lake. Some of the people we will have at the meeting may not know all this, especially like the diversion over to Fallon and things like that. This is just to give people an overall context. And we have not put in all the facts on the Truckee River watershed but these will just be benign facts about the river, its size, how many reservoirs, things of that nature. So I don't know. I guess what we should do is on every slide, if any of our stakeholders have a problem with it, or say, it'd be much better if you did this, that's what we're looking for here. So I'm going to open that up and go, "Hey guys, is there anything you're seeing here on this particular slide?" And we'll just go through one slide after another. And I won't be on all the slides. I'm just on the first 2.
This is Mary. Is there any way to make this bigger on the screen?
I, um, present, let me see if I can figure that out.
Up
It's,
at the top left, you can go into present and you should be able to scroll in and out with your wheel and zoom in.
wrong button.
So up at the top where the little
When I click the present, it goes to one of my other screens, so I think I need to unshare
oh,
or,
okay.
hold on just a second. Okay, that should be like full size of the presentation.
Yeah, let's go back to the first slide because that's the one we were talking about. You can just do it with the key. Yeah, there you go. So is there anything on this that you're like, okay, you know, is there a messaging problem on here? Anything that we're saying? Yeah, I know these are kind of benign. The other ones will get much more into it.
That's good.
Okay. Okay, so let's go to the next one. I think the next one is far more significant. This one here, a lot of work was done by Marty on this, so it's all her fault. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, this is a new layout of our project that we haven't shown before. It's the same project, but it's much more, it has much more detailing, especially at Rock McCarran and at Vista Narrows than it has in the past, and it's bigger. Remember, these things are going to be about 3 foot by 4 foot when you see them at the station. These are not the size that you're looking at. These are going to be huge. And so the background map is high resolution so that it doesn't get all pixely on us when we print it out that big. But anyways, this is our new layout of the project with the different aspects of it. And then the idea here is I'll be standing here and so will Marty. And the idea is why are we doing this? The big deal is if you look down on the left side bottom, the project impact, the area in green is area taken out. Now we have gone through in some of our other depictions, this area right here, oh, you can't see my cursor, but the area off to the far right that's green over by Wells, beyond the freeway, if you go to the west,
Left.
way west. Yeah, there. That has been blue in the past, but we're planning on doing something about that. So I put that in green, which means that comes out of the problem area. And there was some of the area at the airport that was under that was blue. Now that's green. And it used to be red and blue when we'd show this thing. But the point is that this thing, these properties, when they're flooded, when all the problems occur, this is over $2 billion of damage. And secondly, when the water goes through these properties, it picks up a lot of toxins. Then it goes down to the terminal lake, which is Pyramid Lake, which is not a good situation. You want to try to keep the water out of those areas where you could have toxic materials from mechanic shops, from certain storage areas where you could get into, complex chemicals that are not good to get into the water. So that's the main point of this is we're trying to take the thing out. The whole project has to work together. You can't just do one little project and it solves it. They're all interconnected and reliant on each other for effectiveness. And then finally, there's on the side over here is the Rock McCarran project. And obviously there's more slides to follow up on this, but it's just the overview of the project. If somebody wants to ask, what is the Rock McCarran role in the entire project and why is it so important? And unlike a lot of the other parts of the project, this thing has a lot of side benefits like the ecosystem benefits of letting the river spread out a bit and the recreational inputs on the south edge of the park as well. So that's kind of the idea of this one. This is just an overview to say, this is important, this is the purpose, this is the need, this is what it does overall. It's kind of the, why slide.
I like it. Good job, Marty.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was all Marty, now that you've given her a compliment. I mean, I just sat here and said, yeah, go for it, unleash,
I was just gonna, a couple comments I have, because this is really for the public, not for the sort of the inside baseball folks like us. On project impact, it might help if they defined that was like the overall project, like with overall project. The word
Okay.
impact to me sounds negative, so you don't need to change anything based on my comments, but maybe just think about they use the word impact, but then I would
Benefit, maybe,
encourage
yeah.
So
the
based on
overall
what you just
project
said,
opposed to just the meadow.
Joe, how would it sound if we say project effect instead of impact, because that's a softer
Yeah.
word? And
Yeah, and then
then say overall project effect.
That's
or
some great
effects.
notes. Thank you.
Anything else, Joe?
Yeah, and one other one on the top right under Vista Narrows. I think for the public that might be a little unclear if anybody reads that or not. You never know. But it says mitigates impact of more in-stream water from upstream projects by allowing overflow into, I think a direct statement like will allow more water to flow downstream. It might be in order because that's what that project is doing, right? Or
We'll work on this
peak
wording.
flow
I
rate
think it's a
velocity.
little clunky. I'm not sure I want to
The
say
draft,
that.
yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Work on Vista Narrows wording.
Yeah. These are drafts. I mean, we're not
Yeah.
like clutching our pearls here.
No, I
So,
appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
yeah. All right, any more comments on this one? This is an important one. This is what the people will be staring at when they go to this station.
I put C1 as an overlay for Rock McCarran. Just as an example, as that's currently what we're leaning towards.
Yeah, and that's much more brought up in the later ones, the later stations. Any other comments?
And then where it says in the Rock McCarran, this project will pay for itself, is that a reference to the overall flood project or is that a reference to the Rock McCarran design project?
Overall.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's my comment to clarify when it says project, just clarifying if that means, because at the top of the slide, if you notice, it says Meadows Flood Project. Purpose Station 1. I don't know if that's referring to, I guess you're just referring to the whole project, so okay.
I think we need to,
comment.
I think we need to get rid of it will pay for itself, that we need to say something like the benefits of the project far outweigh the costs.
Okay.
Rather than pay for itself. That is now that Joe brings that up, it doesn't really pay for itself. There isn't like a funding mechanism to pay for itself.
Right. I will add that. Thank you.
Yeah, and we can put a PDF of this on our website or email it out afterwards in case you guys have more comments.
That'd be great. I was gonna suggest
I
that.
would really like that.
We usually do put a PDF of what we present, so but yeah, we'll do that, especially here. Anything else, guys, on this slide? Okay, well, I go to the next one then. Okay, this is a JUB led station, so whoever's leading that, I think it's Shane or Jeff.
Sure, yeah, I'll talk here for a minute. Thanks, George. So this station 2 is going to be two slides. This one and also a slide going through the alternatives. But the first slide here, it really just each of the outer bubbles show the discipline considerations that were studied during the alternative analysis, and each bubble has, these are the actual scoring criteria that we used for each one, so people can ask questions about any of these, things that we looked at, and then the alternatives process itself. This just walks through kind of how we did it. So we can just say, okay, here's how we did the alternatives analysis. We looked at these things, we we shuffled them through this process. We added a couple images that we thought were interesting for people to see, like, oh, we overlaid things and look at the slope. Just some things to talk about with people. And then each one of these kind of is like, okay, recreation, go see station number 4. Okay, flood hydraulics, go see the other poster, station 2B. Environmental, go see station number 3. These top 3 have a station. These bottom 3, we didn't feel like they needed their own station.
You
And
can
so,
address it there.
yeah, we can address it here. And if people want to talk, go in depth on geotechnical, we really haven't done the drilling yet. We really, there's things, but we can talk. And this will be the station that I'm at with, to go into depth, into detail with some of my staff, will be with me as well. And we'll also have a comment card at all the stations. We have a draft comment card. And at this station in particular, we're going to have a draft of the report, or the draft of the alternatives analysis, and a few booklets that show all the alternatives. So going to the next poster that will be at the station, essentially this shows the different alternatives, and it kind of goes through like what's going on here. No action, the project area stays the same. No river change, there's extensive terracing and perimeter levees, but the river doesn't change. A2, no river change, actually is the same thing, but it includes this interior levee. Like, and people can go through these, look at some of the pluses and minuses. And then we also included the highest rank and the lowest rank from the matrix. And if they really want to dive into the matrix, we'll have it there in the report. We can open up and say, here's how we scored it. And they're like, well, how'd you score this? Well, we can turn to the page. We scored it like this. I don't think people are going to go that deep, but we'll be ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
How are they organized, Shane?
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, these 2 are the highest ranking in the middle. And then these 2 are the A's, and then this is just the B's and C's. So we just put and maybe that's a good comment, Joe, if you think it would make sense to go like A, B, C, D, but we just put the 2 that were the highest ranking in the middle.
Could you put like a bold box around the middle and just put, highest, because that is,
Preferred.
now I see the intent, because it shows 1 and 2. When you look at the circled letter numbers, it shows 1 and 2.
Yeah. Say again.
Maybe, I don't know, like a bold red box that kind of with the little call outs, highest
The
ranking.
highest ranking on this.
Yeah, something. That's in my comment, just to call attention to what you're.
Yeah, call more attention to yeah, we can do that.
And do you want to show the impacts on those first 2, similar to, the shading and contouring that you have on the additional alignments? With the
like
impacts?
Yeah, like instead of these being renders, do you want them to match topo?
Yeah. So that then they're comparing apples to apples as far as, what the
do that. We can
exhibits look like.
Yeah, that's no big deal. We can make them all the same so that it's easier to compare, because it's not easy to see that this one doesn't have an interior levee and this one doesn't have an interior levee either. Oh no, this one does and this one doesn't. Yeah, that I think that's a great point. We'll change that.
Because I'm guessing that people are going to be interested to understand, what the varying impacts look like between the different alternatives.
One comment I might have, Shane, this is Ashley. I know it's probably a lot of information, but I like seeing the rendering next to the topo. Would it be too much to have the rendering and the topo like stacked on each other?
Yeah, that's a great comment. One of the thoughts that we're going to do is we're going to put an 11 by 17 booklet of all these so that they could pull them out and look at them.
Or maybe like a side by side or something where one sheet is all topo, one sheet is all rendering.
Yeah, I feel like we could definitely do that in a booklet at the station. I don't know that we could fit it on, unless we did another, like a whole nother poster.
Do another board if we need to.
And we're open to that. We could do another board if
Yeah.
that's
I-
what.
I don't want to overwhelm people. I mean, we do have the booklet, so,
Yeah,
you know, we can have like 3 of those booklets going and people can be
Mhm.
thumbing through them and asking questions and stuff where there's more printouts
Mhm.
of a lot of different things.
It's
yeah,
not
I like
even-
the rendering from, you can see the
Mhm.
greenage, the tree lines, kind of the aesthetics of it. You lose a little bit of that in the topo, but yeah, maybe just like a supplemental piece of information on the side would be good.
Yeah, so we'll do that. We'll make it so it's easy to look at, compare the two with the render and the topo.
Okay.
I'll make sure we have that in the booklet for the comparison.
Any other comments on this one?
Or the previous one. This one's pretty simple, not a lot.
Maybe nudge the geomorphology down a little bit in the bubble.
Oh, yeah,
It's pretty minor.
sure. Good comment.
Shane, I think the graphics on this one, the alternatives are good. It's a lot to digest at once.
It is
I
yeah.
mean, especially
very busy.
as we went through this, we kind of know it's A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, no action. I don't know if there's another way to break it out, but maybe just talk people through it as they show up at the station. You're like, there's the A's, there's the B's, there's the C's, and
It's gonna be tough, you know, like, I think that the booklet will help, and there'll be 2 of us to be like, okay, here's what we did. And you know, if people really want to dive in, we'll be able to dive in with them.
Yeah.
It's not that accessible because there's so much data.
yeah. And maybe that is the main thing, is someone's there talking to a person one-on-one if they really want to dive in.
Yeah, this would not be good just to have sitting there with no explanation. There's just too much going, you know, there's too many graphs and too much overgeneralization. But if somebody's there explaining it, and then you have the booklets and the actual report sitting there too, maybe a couple of reports and a couple of or 3 of those booklets of these, then you can get down into it a little better. And remember, what we're trying to do is elicit comments from people that are informed and intelligent that might actually help us. So, you know, giving them enough information to where whatever they're thinking in their head that might be something we're missing, they can articulate it well so that we can understand it.
I think people are,
Do we have a kind of ballpark estimate of what we anticipate the participation to be at this meeting?
Well, when we did the thing at the county, that little thing, we had 100 views of it plus now. When we do Colo, there's probably going to be a couple of thousand people see that. Our social media, there's people looking at it.
Okay.
You know, we had 30 at Wadsworth, so I can't imagine this being any less than double of that, considering,
Okay.
you know, the access point. It's at the McKinley Arts Center, which is right in the center of town.
Yeah.
And I think there's just going to be, yeah, I think probably 60 would be a good estimate. So
Yeah,
each one of
I'm
these,
a little bit concerned about this particular board in that it is very difficult to understand, you know, what all of the information is that's on here, because if you look at the numbering, it's not jiving with, you know, what the preferred alternatives are coming out to be. And so I think it needs to be highlighted as to, you know, these are the top 2 and this is, you know, kind of the direction that we think we're heading in.
yeah, maybe we can make the 1 through 8 is kind of a lighter font. It's like a gray font. Maybe we should make it red and we should circle it with a dark red line around it and make that more of the ranking more of a thing. And Joe also said that maybe the very top one should just have a red line around it. So it's more, so your eyes go to number one, like, okay.
Yeah,
And then the other ones are like, okay, those are all just comparisons. And if somebody's detail oriented, they may go there, but.
But do we want to present the fact that we have a preferred alternative? I thought we were still in
Well,
the
we do,
process.
this isn't preferred alternative, this is highest rank. The
Okay.
draft report had rankings. I mean, we had a ranking system.
Yeah,
And this is the highest ranked alternative.
we took anything that said preferred alternative out of here and we only say high rank.
Okay. Yeah.
And then there's a slide that says specifically, with public input, the preferred alternative will be selected as we go through the steps.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we kind of left out the whole idea of, we don't have a preferred alternative yet. There's still time and we need public comment.
Okay.
Okay.
George and Shane, after going through this process and after the meeting we had on the 14th of February to talk about the interior levy option, how the city was really had a lot of interest in seeing that inundation recurrence interval, something to where the park was a very much a maintainable, sustainable type park. I'm just wondering, is this going to force the hand at all? Like, because there is a certain level of, oh, they rank the highest and they look good, to force the hand of comment toward these two options. That'd be my concern.
Joe, you're getting ahead of yourself. Can you go up a couple of slides, Shane? Hold on. Let's show something here. No, ahead. You're going backwards.
Like to which one? To the process?
Right there. Wait a minute. Future design improvement. Wait a minute. Engineer's recommendation. Down at the bottom towards the center. Combination of the two alternatives, river realignment number 2, C1, and river realignment 1, B1. Both alternatives include extensive terracing and perimeter levees. I thought we were going to add language that
Protection of the fields.
the twos, the C2, B2.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to do a levy, but we have been talking about a berm to get that recurrence interval up some. So look, here's the problem. I'm going to state this very clearly. The intermediate levy, when you say the word levy, it connotates a whole bunch of engineering, and it's like something that cannot fail for like insurance purposes. So when you say levy, that creates a lot of cost, and the cost of the levy, the intermediate levy, depending on how high it is in the $10 to $12 million range. The idea of what maintenance is and what maintenance would happen between, say, a 10-year recurrence interval and a 20-year recurrence interval, if the thing is made for inundation, like your park is actually designed for inundation. There's tons of these parks throughout the United States. I even designed one myself, so I mean, there's tons of these kind of parks and they're designed for this. And the maintenance on this is very low. And the amount of time they're flooded is like 0.001%. So versus 0.0001%. So that what I'm saying is there is no cost benefit to this to put a intermediate levy in there,
Yeah,
a
that makes
10 to
sense.
$12 million
You can use the
levy
berm.
for a $5,000 maintenance thing.
Yeah, you can use a
every
berm.
10 years.
And that note that you were looking for, George, I think it's right here. It says, balance the earthwork and create a berm with an elevated walking path to improve
Okay.
the occurrence of field inundation or.
Yeah, because see, that is inexpensive, a berm, and it would increase it maybe to 10, 15 years, who knows? But the point is that if you go all the way out and you say you want to make it 36 years and you put a very high levy in there and it's an actual levy, there's no cost benefit to that. I mean, it's You know, you know, all this money that we're going to spend here is bonding or loan. So if we spend 10 extra million, that's an extra 20 million. And there's like, this is for a difference of $5,000 every 20, 30 years. That doesn't pencil out at all.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Using an interior berm instead of an interior levee, I don't have any, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that is where we're going with this. It's the design. If we got no input today, where we would go with this and what we'd instruct, what I would instruct, or we as TRFMA would instruct, would say something like, "Hey guys, you know, probably the best way is this right now. Take this to 30." But we want to hear the public input because maybe we're not seeing something, and it could be something totally different than that berm even. I just, you know, Wadsworth, I never thought about school children, and I didn't even know it was lighted. I mean, those were total, like, whoa, that caught me, you know. So I don't want to underestimate what the public can come up with.
Well, and I guess the public is gonna have, I think it's gonna have a hard time distinguishing between a levee and a berm. I mean, a lot of even hydrologists don't know the difference. So yeah, like how is the public gonna digest that and comment on it, I guess is my question.
Well, I think what the public might say on this is, yeah, we want to make sure that it doesn't get hammered every 2 years or 6 years or something like that. We need something there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah,
I mean, that's all they're going to ask for is they're not going to get into, yeah, I want you to use bentonite to, you know,
right.
condition the soil so that the permeability is lower. They're not going to go there, but they will say things like, yeah, well, I think we need something so this thing isn't constantly interrupted, but at what level? And then you see the nice thing about a site like this, when you're going back and forth, is you can talk to them and go, well, actually the berm would do this, and this is what goes into a berm and the cost level. And then that helps them make a better comment to us. You know, they'll have a more educated comment about it. So it's something we can listen to and receive and go, oh, okay. That's what happened at Wadsworth. I'm hoping that happens again. I know this is more complicated. And I do think some of our people here that may show up to this meeting will have more of a background with it because this has been going on for years. You know, there was the Living River and all these other things. Living River people will be at this meeting.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. So these are people that saw this as the Living River. They may have comments like, what about, you know, in the Living River, there were boat docks. There were all kinds of things along the river. Why aren't they there here? You know, and some of those might be valid comments. I don't know.
Zach, you have your hand raised?
Yes, thank you. Since it was, cost and everything was mentioned, is there going to be a slide that addresses implementation cost and, annual maintenance cost to allow, participants to evaluate and comment on cost benefit during the public meeting? Or is that appropriate?
It's just too much. I mean, you can see we're already, look at the detailing on this. It is in the report if somebody wants to go there. We have the cost of every last one of these. Then there is, I mean, you're okay. There is a work that's going on. Wood Rogers is looking at what, maintenance is typically, they're studying that right now. So we don't have that yet, but when we do, we can give like a solid number of what the maintenance is.
Yes. Question.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll let you continue with your presentation.
Yeah, sorry about that, Shane. I kind of
Oh, you're good.
because I
Slide.
thought Joe was getting ahead, so we had to deal with it at the slide where it was being dealt with.
The next slide, environmental, and this was worked on by Danielle and Elena. I'm not sure if you want to just take a little read here and see if there's anything that makes sense. Essentially, they're going over existing conditions, then, you know, proposed anticipated benefits, and then they're saying, what's the process? That's kind of the flow of this slide. And then they talk about some of the findings from the environmental scan and aquatic resource delineation that they did, a few pictures of some of the species and importance to the community.
Yeah. And this is Danielle. I don't know if Elena's on the call for this, but we're still working on some of the bullet points in the text. But Shane did a really good job of explaining the general ideas and gist of it. But if you guys have any comments or questions, you know, please let us know. I'm going to be preparing some comments and working with Elena on it next week.
A few notes on the presentation format. It is a pretty big room, and so we're setting it up with tripods on the floor, and then they're gonna be like 4 foot long by 3 foot tall posters. So you could feasibly probably do 2 posters per station if you really wanted to pop something out and still have room for people, but that's up to you guys.
So are there, you know, as you look at, once again, we will do this as a PDF, and if you have comments, just email them back to me and I'll get them to the right people. I know there's a lot here. This is there's a lot of text here. Remember, it is going to be 3 by 3.5 feet when they print it. So it doesn't look as dense as it does here, but still, yeah, there's a lot here, and we want to make sure our messaging is clean, you know, about what we're doing.
It might be worth, George, implementing a few of these comments and then PDFing and send it out to them. You know, I see a few things that we could spruce up. So maybe we could take a day and implement the comments that we got today and then send it out to them for another review.
Yeah. This is a public meeting. We will probably send it out as is, but we could also do that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's
We
right.
can post it to the website as is and then send an updated review to the TAC.
Yeah. Yeah, with some of the comments worked in. That'd be a good idea.
I'd say one general comment is there's a lot of text, and people are not gonna be interested in reading all this.
Right.
And also, a lot of the wording is probably above general public understanding. So I'd say keep it simple. Like I bet most people don't know what incised means.
So thanks for the feedback. Again, we're continuing to work on the wording for this. And those are good points. Again, keep in mind, this is going to be a big poster. Like I think, correct me if I'm wrong, these were like 3 feet by 4 feet sheets of paper from a plotter.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely work on the format of this. The idea with these drafts was to get down the concepts that we're trying to convey so that you guys would have an idea of our messaging. And we wanted to make sure that we were on track with all of that. We will also, I'll be at that station, and I believe Elena will be at that station too. So we'll have 2 people there familiar with the project to, you know, explain what's on the poster and answer questions and get feedback from the public. So hopefully that will also be helpful.
I have a photo I can share to give you a size comparison if you guys are ready.
Thanks for the feedback, Mary. This is Elena. I was just wondering, you mentioned adding more photos. Were there any specific ones that come to mind that you think would be beneficial for this poster?
I mean, I think I like the pictures of the invasive of the species. I don't know, maybe invasive species or I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, photos are always attractive to the public.
Especially in this format, or is there a formal presentation planned for the public meeting?
Only a very short introductory. We want to get people to these stations in a hurry. You know, it's at night and we want to get them there so that they can have dialogue and discuss things, ask
Yeah.
questions.
TAC, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess recommendation for additional images. I mean, since someone brought it up that folks don't know what channel or might not know what channel is, maybe posting a picture or including a picture of what an inside channel looks like, to be able to use that as a talking point. Say, look, these are the issues we're trying to address. So maybe images of the the existing conditions that are trying to be addressed through these different alternatives would be helpful.
Yeah,
that's
there's more words than incised. I would guess that a lot of people, when they see channel sinuosity, they actually go numb. Just from being a professor in the past, I would say that would throw a lot of people off. So, I mean, yeah, we've got to look at this carefully and kind of knock it down a bit.
Yeah, so again, we will work on the verbiage for this and appreciate all the feedback. I'm sure there's some engineering terms that are on the other posters
Yeah.
too that we can also perhaps look at.
I actually have a graphic that I kind of like that explains some reconnecting to the floodplain. I don't have it on my computer, but I have it posted up. It's like, I don't know if you guys can see it. It just
Yeah.
kind of shows like,
Yeah.
oh, like this is what a healthy meadow looks like. You might think of something sort of in that ballpark
Well,
as pictures go.
yeah, let's just all, if you have comments that beyond what our basic ones are, like the channel incision and sinuosity and wording and the amount of words, for on this slide, if there's more than that, please just email them to us once
Yep.
we send out the PDF. And then we'll send out a PDF with some corrections that you can also comment on.
Yeah, I mean, if I may, I might suggest that we take the feedback that we're receiving today and take a little bit of time to work with JUB and in-house and make the changes based on the feedback that we've gotten today, and then send out one series of drafts that are, closer to final so that the TAC can just take a look at those offline and provide us whatever final comments they might have. The meeting is March 12th. And so, we prepared these drafts in advance so that we would have time to go through them and refine them. But I think just me personally sending out a whole bunch of iterations of this might be confusing and a little bit time consuming for the TAC to go through.
I agree, Danielle. I like that suggestion.
Okay. Let's get on to the next one.
So Eric Hasty, if he's here, I think Andy was on. Andy Erling and Eric Hasty have been working on these. So if Eric, you want to just talk about what you're doing here?
Sure. Yeah, so we're responsible for the recreation station, and so what we have here is really just kind of an example or painting the picture of how we kind of got here and why we're proposing these flat fields over all the other amenities. that could possibly go into a park. And so a lot of this is the direction from the city of Reno and their Parks and Recreation and Open Space Master Plan that just identified that there's a deficit of about 45 flat fields in the city of Reno, and as well as Truckee River access and hiking and biking trails. And so really this is an opportunity, we're trying to show that this is an opportunity to add some of those recreation amenities in an area that is not really traditional park, because it's not surrounded by homes, and this isn't an industrial area, right? So you're going to have a lot of people driving here, traveling here. And so really the city's direction was to, or the best use for this area was to kind of do this as is not only meeting the needs of these flat fields, but also an opportunity to start hosting some of these regional tournaments, and that can bring in and generate revenue for not only the city of Reno, but city of Sparks and Washoe County. And so this station here is really, it boils down to, we have 3 alternatives when it comes to recreation, and these are based on the the different alternatives that the engineers came up with for the types of flooding. And so we boiled it down to alternative A, alternatives B and C, and then alternative D. And then we just did a fitting analysis of how many fields you can fit on there and how many parking spots you can fit on there. And so what we'll do in addition to having this board is have another board that has these alternatives, a little bit bigger so people can see what goes into them. And we're going to have them vote on their favorite alternative. And then there's going to be another board that has different amenities that can be put in here in addition to the fields and the parking areas. And so we'll try to get people to do their top 3 of those amenities to get a better idea of what people want to see in this park. We also have a memo that we provided as well that kind of justifies everything I just said of how we got here, that which will be available and kind of help people understand why this isn't a traditional park. It can't be a traditional park because of the flooding. This is going to be designed to flood, and so we're limited in what we can put in there.
I'd say my comment, just like the environmental poster, is less words and more pictures or bigger pictures. Like, I don't think you need, like, I like how you define passive and active recreation, because I literally forget every single time which is which. But like, you could just say passive recreation, walking, hiking, enjoying the natural environment, active sports, sports fields. And then you could really simplify the alternative explanation and enlarge the pictures, I think.
Yeah, there's going to be another board that's probably the same size as this, with like these alternatives blown up, the ones that they're going to vote for. So this will be, but yeah, thank you for the comments.
If somebody comes and they're looking at the fields and it says, kind of vote on the alternative, is there any meaningful criteria that they would be able to use other than just saying, well, north and south and the number of fields? Is that what you're looking for? Or are you looking for them to take into account some of the like design challenges or things like that?
Yeah, so it's going to be like it, and we'll have people stationed here too, and maybe it's something we can add here, but really it's in order to host one of these tournaments and to be competitive, you have to have like 10 to 20 flat fields. And so that's really, and the north and south orientation is the preferred. So a lot of tournaments will, they'll have certain criteria that they have to meet, and if you want to be competitive.
I suggest if that's one of the primary things that's the attention's being drawn to, that should be the biggest text around the boxes. And right now it's kind of the smallest for the number of flat fields. and the orientation.
Okay.
That might be something on the voting too, because on the sticker voting, you're gonna have like, 10 amenities or whatever that people want, and one of them could be enough fields for to host regional tournaments.
Yeah.
And then they could put a sticker by that, because they're gonna put stickers by walking trails and by whatever, soccer fields, whatever your 10 or 15 items on your sticker vote, but you could add one for that specifically.
What's not clear in good faith, if someone's like, yeah, soccer fields are great, they don't necessarily can't necessarily determine from looking at this how much that's going to take away from the walking trails or the kind of riparian area. You know what I mean? It looks like you can just see what I'm saying, Shane.
You cut out there for a sec for me. I don't know if that happened to everyone else.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear you.
Say that one more time.
He's frozen.
I think another thing that might be important to clarify, Eric, is that this is pre-design. This is like, we haven't even started the design yet. We're looking for ideas, for pre-design ideas, right? And so, so if the public says, "Oh, look, you've already chosen how to do this," no, we're gathering info still, pre-design. We want your input.
Could I share my
Okay.
screen for just a second to show you the perspective of the size of the poster?
If you need, yeah, that's fine, Marty.
Oh, okay. I just didn't want to. So this is kind of just what it would look like. It would be set up on a tripod like that, and I just took a screenshot and threw it up with perspective, just so you guys can kind of get an idea of what it would look like in a room.
Yeah, it
But
looks like those fonts would probably be equivalent to about an 18 when you do
Yeah.
it like that.
You can have the screen
Yeah,
back.
yeah, these I think these fonts are like the smallest font we have on there is like 26 or something like that. It's fairly large.
Yeah, but when you bring them up on that, they're big.
Do you want to see it again or not?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Shane. My connection died.
Oh, no worries.
I'm like, Shane's taking a really long time of getting back. I'm just waiting. I'm like dropped off.
Shoot, this thing keeps going to the wrong screen now. Let's see.
We just saw it, Shane.
Yeah. It looked
You
good to me.
Can I go ahead? Maybe you heard what I said, Shane. I was just asking, is it possible? Are you just looking for input like we prefer or value more riparian and trails than we do fields versus we value more fields? Or are you looking for someone to kind of be able to make the trade-off of, oh, we want to have this many fields versus this much riparian area?
Yeah, I think like the big takeaway is, do you want to see this much area be dedicated to the fields, right? Or would you like to see this be more of a traditional park? I mean, I think the passive recreation is going to be there on any one of those layouts. So I think it's kind of just determining what elements people want to see within this park.
And
is
remember,
really
you
the biggest
guys,
takeaway.
remember this, that we periodically get people in our office willing to pay their own money to just set up a soccer field. And they're aware of this meeting. So there are going to be activists. This isn't just a community person kind of interested in what's going on down by the river. This meeting, unlike Wadsworth, will actually have activists coming into the meeting, like going, no, I want as many flat fields as possible. There will be people that will be very interested in more passive recreation as well. So there's going to be, it's not just, the crowd will be somewhat different than Wadsworth. I mean, Eric, you weren't in Wadsworth, but the point is we will actually have, when it comes to recreation, people that are that might have actually read that thing with Reno with the shortage and actually know this stuff. Or have been trying
Yeah.
and advocating for more fields. So just,
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. That's like one of the biggest things I think we would, because there's also going to be comment cards on each one of these stations too, where people could write in anything.
Right.
And if we hear, we don't want to hear, we don't want to see any flat fields. We want to see, you know, something, you know, a traditional park or something like that. Then that's going to be a big takeaway too. But I don't know if that's the.
you
what we're
might,
gonna
but
hear.
what I'm just saying is the type of people that are coming to your station are not going to be uninitiated people. Many of them won't be. They will be people that have been bugging me for the last 5 years. So,
My comment, I guess, Eric, would be if you're looking for the qualitative feedback, I think the figures are sufficient because people can just look at the fields and vote. But if you're looking for something more quantitative, they might ask questions like how many acres of riparian area versus how many acres of trails and what's the trade-off? Because right now you can only count the fields, you can't really count the acreage and trails.
Good point.
Yeah,
that is in the report though.
we're
Okay.
so early. We're so early in the process that it really is just preferences at this point.
Okay, just look for qualitative preference. Okay,
Yeah.
I think you can get that from here for sure.
Okay, should we go on to the next one? Shane, do you have it?
We do. Are you seeing the screen,
Yep,
the correct screen, or the one that has? Is that
There
like,
you go. We have it.
it's great. Yeah.
Why is it station number 7?
that's wrong? No one would have caught that if you didn't say it.
What?
This is what
station is it?
engineers do on review.
5?
There's 5 stations, yeah. So this one here, I mean, Shane, you can elaborate on this, but this is nice because they can see the future and possible timings and you know, get an idea of where we're going with this thing. It does have the future design improvements and the engineer's recommendation on there. So yeah, we have a lot of different things on here that are helpful. I liked it because honestly, for what we could have put on here, there aren't a lot of words. I mean, there could have been a lot more words than this, and I like the way you stepped it down like this. I think it's a really good poster, honestly. But I mean, I'm open for improvements too.
I'm going to reword the engineer's recommendation a little bit. I feel like it's kind of hard to read with river realignment number 2, C1. That's like how we think of it because we worked on it, but we'll make it more. That doesn't mean anyone to anyone else, anyone else. So I'm going to fix that verbiage. I guess it does show up there, but
Yeah, I may be stealing this slide in future presentations. Wow, it's a good slide. I like it.
good.
Or pieces of it, especially the step down you have.
So then is this the last station?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're not going to tell people they have to go 1 through 5. We're just going to go, you know, just peruse all these stations, see what you're interested in.
Submit your
That kind of
cards.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the comment card, there is a place where the bottom half is going to be open for drawings, just as a general note. So if people had something they wanted to draw from a whatever recreation perspective, or hey, I wish you would align it like this, there's going to be a place on the paper for comments like that.
I can share what that looks like if you want.
If you share it, then I'll never get back to the screen. So
No worries.
screen first.
Yeah, it's a simple 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. It's pretty simple, the comment card. It's a comment sheet, I guess.
Well, if we don't have any comments on this, I would like to suggest that we kind of follow the direction that Danielle had suggested, is to allow the presentation team to kind of integrate some of the comments that were received today into the presentation, and then have that presentation sent out to the TAC members for further comments if necessary. And if that can be formed into a motion, I will do that as a motion for direction.
That was so moved. I think somebody can second that.
I second that motion.
Okay, and then if anybody has any additions, you know, we can.
Yeah,
add
like
it to the
like we
motion.
said earlier with Shane and I, just email them to me and I will get them to the right person.
Okay.
If you have comments going ahead, so we can, you know, we can make a few from today, get them out to you, and that will just be private to the people on the TAC. The other one is a public thing. And then we will just, you know, make improvements as we see them.
Is there a specific timeline that we need to hit the mark on in order for, you know, production to be done for the presentation boards? What is the, you know, drop dead date that we need to have any kind of comments integrated?
I would think they're going to need to be plotted like on the 11th or the 10th. So
Yeah.
it would need to be next week sometime.
Okay. So is it understood that we should probably anticipate receiving the updated slides probably by Monday? Is that a reasonable request?
Might I suggest Tuesday since it's already
Okay.
Friday?
Yeah, yeah, so let me kind of modify my motion that we've requested that the updated slides be presented to the TAC by Tuesday, March 4th.
Yeah.
And that TAC members are responsible for providing any kind of feedback by either Thursday or Friday next week. It could be the 6th or 7th. I would suggest the shorter time frame just because I don't want to put the team in jeopardy of not being able to print their materials before the public meeting.
Okay, so by Tuesday, close of business, by Thursday, close of business.
Okay. And then Mary, do you want to second that modification?
I'll second the modification.
Okay. Any further comments? If none, I will take a vote. All those in favor of the motion on the
Excuse
table?
me.
Before we take a vote, can I just
silent for
call for
everyone else?
public comment on that, please?
Oh, sorry, public
No, that's
comment?
fine. Yes.
We have no public comment.
Okay, so we'll close public comment. Now we'll take a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, we will close item 7 and move on to item 8, review and discussion.
Excuse me, we're
sorry.
not done with 7 yet. That was
we're
a very
not?
important part of it, but we
Okay.
wanted to, as transparency and accountability, let you know that we have, they are already looking at the bridge issue that was brought up at the special TAC meeting. And then they're also looking at a memo, and that was already mentioned off to the side as they were talking about their board, but that Wood Rogers is looking at a memo about maintenance and how you set up a park in a floodplain and stuff like that. So Shane, would you like to elaborate on those areas or any other areas that were brought up? There were other minor changes as well that are being incorporated, but
We
those
took
were the two major ones.
Yeah, we took those TAC notes that have a bunch of action items on them that were from the TAC, and we've started addressing them. The two major ones that actually are requiring study are the bridge and the recreation. A lot of the other items are like, hey, revise the language in section X to do this. Consider this in the next portion of design, and we have those. We have a long list of that, but the two major ones were as George mentioned.
And that's all I just wanted to add that before you closed it, Janelle.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. Any additional comments? Joe, it looked like maybe you were ready to say something.
I was just saying thanks. That was helpful just to know that that's being looked at.
Okay. All right. We will formally close item 7 then and move on to item 8, review and discussion of the Truckee River Flood Management Authority draft Board of Directors meeting agenda for 3/21/2025. George Robeson.
Yes.
I am going to punt this to Mike Wools.
Okay.
So just very quickly, some of the major items that we have planned for the agenda thus far. There will be a discussion to extend the contract with JUB Engineers on the Wadsworth Bridge. That'll be necessary. That's just an extension of time. And Shane, you should be seeing that shortly. It's currently on George's desk. There will be a presentation of the fiscal year 2024-2025 5-year capital improvement plan, and we will be seeking approval of that. There will be a presentation and a discussion of a strategic plan for the coming years. And there will also be a quarterly report on the Reno Park Rangers, their patrols and their activities. So those are the major items from the agenda. Thanks.
Hey. Any comments or anything from the panel?
Is there going to be no discussion of the public meeting?
That will be part of the
It occurs
announcement. Yeah,
after.
there'll be there will probably be a discussion of that. Yeah, it just hasn't made it onto our draft yet.
What about an update on the work along Riverside Drive and the berm and that contracting?
I would probably make an announcement about,
Okay.
but I mean,
think
that's been decided, honestly.
Just an announcement. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Closing item 8 and moving on to item 9, committee member comments, requests, and future agenda items. Anyone have any of those? Seeing none. I will close item 9 and move on to public comment. Item 10, during this comment period, any person is invited to speak on any topic that is not listed as an action item on this agenda. Action may not be taken on any matter raised during the public comment period until the matter is specifically listed on a future agenda. Comment must be made as described above and is limited to 3 minutes per person. Do we have any public comment?
We do not have any public comment.
Okay, I will close item 10 and move on to item 11, adjournment. And we will formally adjourn at 11:24 a.m. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Awesome job.
Great.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
You too.